welcome to the next session in FCBA. Our topic today is Hello Cyber Insurance. Given the pandemic and the lockdown and the work from home situation, the cyber threats have gone up. And I'm getting reports, what I'm understanding from daily reports is the amount of money involved in these crimes is also growing up from thousands to tens of thousands to lakhs. Apart from all kind of preventive measures, we also need some kind of alternative to handle the situation. And that's where the right thing, the best thing is probably cyber insurance. And to discuss this topic today, we have a very eminent panel of people who are a CISO, who are a general manager IT, people who are a lawyer, people who are a chief risk officer. Without going into further details, let me hand over to our best expert on the subject, Mr. Arjun Bhaskaran, who's our moderator for the session today. So Arjun, over to you for a quick and sharp discussion.
Thank you very much, Manojji. And it's my pleasure to moderate this exciting panel. And the cyber insurance, is increasingly recognized as an effective additional defense mechanism for most organizations. And probably there's also realization it's more relevant for small and medium organizations, even more than it is for large, because large organizations have enormous protective capability internally. But small and medium cyber can be even more important. Cyber insurance can be even more important. From that perspective, before we go into slightly detailed questions, since this objective of this discussion is probably to throw light on for the cooperative banks in FCBA to evaluate this new opportunity or new solution, I want a quick feedback from each one of you. Probably Mr. Sundar Krishnan first. How do you see cyber insurance has been working for your organization? Probably how many years you have been adopting cyber insurance? I mean, ballpark, I'm saying. You may have a longer history also. And how has been, there have been many claim-free years, or there have been some occasional claims? So the same question I would like to ask Vinodji and Manthan Babu also.
We've been purchasing cyber insurance for last 6 years or so.
Okay.
And it's a very important decision. Every year we get into a meeting. We have a committee of people who evaluate it, pull together many of the companies in the group. So we do a pooling. We call 2-3 brokers to explain the concepts, explain the services, introduce the manufacturers of the insurance policy, and then we buy the insurance policy. So we've done extensive research on the cyber insurance we buy and gone through a cycle. And incidentally, to the stage of culmination of claiming. This is my sister company and not my company. So, but I was involved because I'm a cyber specialist, security specialist. So I'm involved end to end in this experience. Especially if there is an attack, ransomware attack, then it is a must. Of course, it's a must even otherwise, whether you are attacked or not attacked. Today it's become a necessity. If you are a big corporate, it is without saying you must have an insurance policy. There is no doubt about it. Because IT is the second highest spend, or some cases first highest spend after people in most of the financial services companies. Any financial service company you take, IT will be the biggest spender after people, or IT first and people second. And so given that kind of scenario, it is going to be a huge sum that you need to protect. Expert will come and give a recommendation, then you would implement the recommendations. This is covered in the insurance policy. And of course, to do press relationship, mitigation.
In the 6 years that you had the insurance, on how many years you have had claims?
No, I haven't claimed at all.
At all. Okay, fine. Okay.
Zero claim.
Okay. So I'll now move on to Manthan Babu. I'm sure, NCPI will be having an equal or a longer history with cyber insurance. So what has been, how long has been you have been adopting cyber insurance as an organization? And what has been your, have you had any claims in this space?
think the era of cyber insurance came into spotlight, if I'm not wrong, when RBI, especially for banks, brought in cyber security and IT examination circular dated back sometime in, if I'm not wrong, in 2016 or so. So that is a time frame. Possibly majority of the corporates, especially banking and financial sectors, would have seriously evaluated cyber insurance and taken. To best of my understanding, even at NPCI, we may be having cyber insurance since the past 5 odd years, not earlier than that. That's the understanding that I have. I am there in the charter for past 3 years with them currently, and at least in the past 4 years that I recall, we have been having the insurance. But the precursor being the regulatory dive that came in from the regulator themselves, possibly was the reason that people were serious those days. Now, the way people are looking up to are, especially with regard to cooperative banks, who are not yet under the direct privy of the regulatory framework that were put up by, especially in the cyber security space, not yet in the direct regulatory space of the regulator themselves, who are being brought under the ambit of the regulator. Obviously, the cooperatives and the other small-time banks would also be seriously looking up to the cyber insurance. That's in a nutshell to put across. Overall, if you look at in-country, the number of known breaches are way too minimal. People claiming, at least in the financial services space. So at NPCI, at least we have not managed to.
We have not made any claims.
We have not made any claims so to date. Touch wood, and we would prefer continuing in the same manner, because the cost of insurance once you make the claim is going to be enormously higher bound. So going by that, we would have adequate compensatory method by means of insuring ourselves, but touch wood, we would like to see that we are not in a position to claim ever at all.
True. But as a because the remaining 1,000 odd cooperative banks in India, they may be looking up to how to adopt this one. That's why I asked this question.
Absolutely. I think the regulator has put in till at least earlier in the last year. In the current year is where the cooperative banks are brought under the CSIT ambit. So sooner or later in the current year and the upcoming year, you will see a lot more actions, especially in the insurance space, happening with the cooperative banks.
Got it. So, Vinodji, in your bank, have you been adopting cyber insurance?
Yes.
How many years you have?
Since this is our 3rd year.
Okay.
We have already been. Now, I want to just say, firstly, cyber insurance, because I've been advocating about this cyber security and cyber insurance for quite a few years now. Okay. And we at GSC Bank, that is Gujarat State Cooperative Bank, we've been conducting very regular seminars, at least 3 in a year, if not more, where we call in all cooperative banks in the state, and once in a while we have called even all state cooperative banks in the country.
Okay.
And wherein we firstly sensitize the issue of cybersecurity, and where we also talk about cyber insurance. We call people from various insurance companies. Now, I personally have had meeting with almost 6 insurance companies before I decided on the cyber insurance of GSC Bank. And this is our 3rd year now that we have taken cyber insurance. So basically, people are a little confused. At least I know for cooperative banks, sure. See, they are still confusing when they talk about cyber insurance. I always keep telling them that there are 2 parts of insurance. It depends on a company. For example, Bajaj offers cyber insurance and cyber crime insurance as separate policy. Somebody may be offering both as a single policy. But what is important is what should be covered. So we have done a lot of work on this, we at our bank. And I just want to list out certain things. Maybe this forum is too small a forum for all the banks to know, but I think it will help. For example, if I talk about just cyber insurance, it will cover loss of money, securities, digital assets, not physical assets.
Yes.
Loss in transit, it will not be covered.
Yes.
Fraud by employees will not be covered. Loss of data, legal liability in case of data breach is covered. Check fraud, again, not covered in cyber insurance, but cyber crime insurance, it will be covered. Business interruption, not covered in crime insurance, but covered in cyber. So what I'm basically telling is, there are a number of things one has to see what is covered in a cyber insurance, what is not covered, and how can we cover it in the other cyber crime insurance. Another very interesting case where I read that this is not India case, but it happened in US. The company had taken a cyber insurance of $250 million. That's a huge one. And unfortunately, an incident happened that there was a hacking. And they claimed they put up the claim. The insurance company refused the claim, saying this is because the hacking had happened from some other country. So they said this is equivalent to a cyber war. So they said if it is international hacking, then this policy does not cover. What I'm trying to say, basically, the idea of giving this example is when we are drafting out the policy clauses, it is very important that each and every word is drafted out well. And I am sure where Jayashree Madam can always be of help in these matters. We've taken a lot of pain in drafting out this, what is covered, what is exclusion. Another point which one has to see is, firstly, what is covered. Secondly, the sublimits. You see, that is another place where insurance companies play the game. The sublimits of various clauses. They will say, so suppose, I know the first time when I got the proposal from certain companies, they were saying, we will not cover till 50 lakhs. Come on, 50 lakhs is a big amount for cooperative bank or for that any matter. That means till the time my fraud happens for 50 lakh, they will not give me any money. That is ridiculous. So we brought down those limits. And then, of course, obviously, this will have a direct impact on the premium. So third part is, second part is the sublimits. And 3 is which clauses represent the claim against financial loss. So these are very technical matters, but it needs to be got into details. We have got into very details about what will be covered in cyber insurance, what will not be covered in the cyber insurance, what will be then covered in cyber crime insurance. There are 3 policies one should look at. One is cyber insurance, another is cyber crime insurance, third is banker's indemnity. Now, for example, banker's indemnity also covers some part of this part. But you see what, generally during my discussion with various cooperative banks, they say, हमने banker's indemnity ले रखा है, उसमें fraud covered है. What kind of a fraud does it cover? What it does not cover? So these are very important. We have tried to map all these 3 policies so that as a bank, as an organization, you are covered everywhere. But okay, that is point 1. Second point is, I had meeting with 6 companies before we finalized our policy. Most insurance companies do not have a cyber policy. They only have a liability policy. For example, even New India today does not have a specific cyber policy. The major company, they are covering cyber under liability policy. But when we look at the wordings, that's where they play the game. So one has to be clear, what am I buying? Okay. So I find at least 3 companies, they are giving cyber policy. I don't know about others. I know Bajaj Allianz, they give because we have taken policy from them. Another company is Tata AIG. And a third company is HDFC. Yeah. So these are the 3 companies who are actually, but the others are saying they are giving it, but not in terms of cyber, which at least we don't know. So this is something specific regarding cyber insurance and cyber policies.
Do you use a broker or are you dealing directly?
No, I deal directly. We deal directly.
Okay.
See, another important point which most banks will have a question, is how much cyber insurance should I take? And how much premium? These are normal questions which banks have, particularly in the cooperative sector. So there is no thumb rule. It depends. See, there are various factors. How many branches, how many endpoints, basically what are your exposure points? It will again, even if a bank has got, let's say, all equal, let's say, suppose a bank has got 100 branches and 100 computers, or let's say 500 computers, the premium in one case may be different, the other case may be entirely different. Because the insurance company will see as to how well you have actually implemented your cyber security policy.
Yes.
Your IT policy. Are you actually complying it or only on the paper? See, there are banks, particularly this is applicable to cooperative sector. Banks will say we are conducting IT audit. Who is conducting it? Normally the CAs, they are doing it. They don't have much exposure as far as IT is concerned. So these are some of the challenges that cooperative banks are actually facing. But notwithstanding, all this has a cost attached to it. So that is another major challenge. And cooperative banks, state cooperative banks, and district cooperative bank, there are about 400 banks. But urban cooperative banks, there are banks with single branch with a profit of less than 1 crore. Now, under these circumstances, how will they be able to really afford all this? That's a question which I think the RBI and anybody government has to answer.
Have you made any claims in the 3 years you took a policy?
Fortunately, no. And I wouldn't like to also.
No, okay, that's fine. No, in case you have had a claim experience, we can throw light on that.
Fortunately, no, sir.
Okay, done. So we'll move on to Jayashree ji. As Vinod mentioned, it's a combination of technology and extreme, legal intricacies. Okay, so we are talking to the right person. So in your experience, you must be dealing with many cooperative banks, and how many of them have you been involved in structuring or advising them on the cyber insurance policy? And as Vinodji said, the clauses and the possibilities are too many. There is pure play cyber, liability, war. Okay, so how many organizations have you been involved in, ballpark, and how do you go?
Certainly. I would like to tell everyone, as Vinod sir told us, that there is no set rule for cyber fraud insurance coverage. But I would like to inform you all that while providing the various judgment, the judiciary, the cyber appellate tribunal, and the adjudicating department mention few guidelines in various judgment. And they have mentioned at least 2% of your whole turnover. You should have a cyber insurance policy, at least 2% of your whole turnover. So you can calculate that if your turnover is 100 crore or 2000 crore, you can at least spend 2% on the cyber fraud insurance. The judiciary also mentioned few things in their judgments, that at least 1% amount you have to spend on cyber security product or cyber security infrastructure. So I would like to mention few things after this judgment-related reference. I would like to tell you few things. A cyber fraud insurance should be based on their infrastructure, their auditory compliances, their risk factor. So most important is their operational risk. While getting the services from vendor and while having the services at our data center, what kind of operational risk that company, that bank, or that organization facing. So I would like to tell you two important things. In many cyber fraud insurance policy I've seen, even I have settled few claims as well for my client. I have seen that there are contradictory rules are available in cyber liability policy. Because one side they said we will provide you the protection on your infrastructure, IT asset, and cyber attack. But meanwhile, they are also avoiding that we will not give you coverage for your compliance failure. We will not give you coverage of your current employer, ex-employee negligence, or if you fail to implement. So there are some certain contradictory statements and wordings I have seen in liability policy. So
what is that current employer? Madam, can you repeat what you said? Current employer? You're just saying
a current employee fault
Current
Okay,
employee
current
fault.
employee fault, ex-employee fault, or fail into implementation of cybersecurity compliance. So there are really contradictory wordings I've seen in Bajaj Alliance, wording as well in HDFC Agro as well, and New India Insurance. So we need to understand. Even we also modified few wordings as per bank's requirement and as per bank operational risk. So we cannot say that whatever they will offer us, we have to accept it as it is. We need
Mr.
to
Shah, the
consider.
logic is that if employee deliberately does the fraud,
Yes.
that means the company is actually in through the employee doing the
Completely denying
cutting
the
corners.
fraudulent activity which has been occurred due to their employee negligence and deliberately activity. So whatever the situation they have mentioned in their wordings, that we will not give you the coverage if your employee, ex-employee, current employee, with intention, without intention, negligently, ignorantly, whatever it is, we will not cover this kind of fraudulent activity. If your employee compromises data, and I have seen that many of banks a current employee shared and compromised their customers and banks data outside.
70% of the frauds are because of
Keep the
employees.
coverage on the same situations due to this data compromise activity, they become a victim of fraudulent activity. So first, I would like to tell you three guidelines from judiciary side is 1%, at least you have to spend 1% of your total turnover on cyber security infrastructure, and 2% at least you need to have the coverage. The third thing which I would like to mention over here, that if we outsource few services, if we outsource data center, if you outsource DR, if you outsource few application services from other vendor, you can also have protection through their cyber fraud insurance policy, their third party claim. Their third party claim also can cover your operational risk. So you can also ask your vendor or a service provider that whether your organization, while providing the services to us, whether your organization is covering third party claim for us. So we need to remember that from
I have
all
just one
sides.
question. You said 1% of what is it? It has to
Total turnover. Turnover.
no 1% of turnover should be sum assured or premium.
Coverage.
Coverage. Sum
assured. Okay, that is sum assured.
Premium will be the very less.
Yeah, exactly.
If I can think the 100 crore company or 100 crore bank. So, and as Vinod sir say, if any organization is only having a one branch, but if you have IT infrastructure, you should have the security, you should have the insurance, and
Insurance, yes.
Yes.
The second thing which I would like to mention here, that cyber insurance can be settled very easily. Unless and until you thoroughly go through the policy and the wording of cyber liability. I have settled two cyber fraud insurance policy for two big cooperative banks, and we able to settle only because of that we have a drafted FIR perfectly. We have submitted forensic report perfectly to the police authority as well as to the concerned company, based on the evidentiary document, based on the compliances, based on the operational risk which we handle, based on the training which we arrange for all IT department. These guidelines has been accepted by the police authority as well and insurance company. Once your FIR done with a proper documentation, you can get a claim within a 45 days. It's very important to understand we can get a coverage not only for internal organization failure, we can also get a coverage from our vendor, from the outsourced company, where they are also covering our operational risk or their operational risk while providing and taking the services. So
one point,
you have the proper compliance report, you have the proper auditory report, and if you have jot down each and every point perfectly as per your policy and as per the compliances, nobody can deny your claim at all. Though it's foreign bank, though it is a private bank, I'm also working with a nationalized and private bank. They also cover their insurance. Even I have seen that Bank of Bangladesh, they able to recover 90 crore very easily. Even the Bank of Maharashtra, Baroda Bank, also able to recover their amount through cyber fraud insurance policy.
Madam,
But
what is your
we have
comment
to
on
do some
interstate
homework while
hacking?
finalizing the limited liability.
Madam, what is your comment on interstate hacking? See, because generally now Iran, then North Korea, these gangs are out. Russia, all these gangs. So, you know, and some of the major frauds have happened because of the, at least attribution points towards these interstate hacking. What's your comment on that?
So, cyber war already started, sir. In lockdown, I have registered 49 cyber attacks on a small and medium scale
So
cooperative
the
bank.
insurance companies, you see, insurance company, they say this is a part of interstate hacking, is a part of cyber war.
No,
So,
Vinodji,
and that's why they will not.
Cyber war is not very well covered in some insurance policy. I can't.
I know here I have a suggestion. Here I have a suggestion. See, one, the large organizations, you know, NPCI or Reliance or even Bank of Baroda, they all use a broker, okay, for two reasons. Because the broker helps to structure the policy as per the requirements of the customer, whereas it's one-sided when the insurance company gives the policy wording. Second one is when you are using a broker, you can probably even negotiate for war coverage better. And third one is when in the event of a claim, if you don't have a broker, you will be left, you know, one-sided. You can't deal with the insurance company. It will be an unequal relationship. So my recommendation is that it may be advantageous at the time of buying to go directly, but it's always better to have the broker because the broker is the complete, confidant of the customer. Jayashree, when you are you are dealing without a broker, it will be very tedious to talk about the conditions to so many different insurance companies.
True, certainly agree.
Yeah, see, you will understand Bajaj. Then after that, you will go and talk to Tata AG. It's a very sequential process.
Yeah, but you know, it's very important to understand the wording because wording is very important. People always feel I have a cyber fraud insurance policy and I don't want to worry about it. But it's not like that. You have to worry about it, about your compliances and security measures. Otherwise, claim will not be settled at all. Even few claim of our bank has been not settled due to their non-compliance activity, due to negligence in service. So we need to understand the wordings of the policy because there are techno-legal things are involved. As per the insurance guideline, if the statutory compliance of IT Act and RBI is not done by the bank,
not done, the insurance won't give you that.
No one will give you the coverage. You know, the lacuna in the system is no one will your God to protect you in this cyber war activity. So unless and until you have a proper study and the consultant and as you said, the broker, the expert, really guide you on your certain risk and management, risk mitigation area. So you cannot feel safe while though you having a policy on, on some offers and marketing strategy of the company. So we should not buy because this is really risky job. You know, I don't want to mention any bank name, but smaller bank also becoming a victim. They are losing 15 crore, 2 crore, and this is big amount, and they can't handle it because they have outsourced the services, and now the service provider is not taking any responsibility. So the SLA is very important. The compliance is important, and the third-party claim insurance documentations and the copy of the third-party claim related documentations also need to be filed in our department while covering our risk as well as understanding the outsourced company's risk. So it's not only our company, but third party claim as well as second party claim has to be noted in our policy and in our auditory department and in our insurance department need to take it ahead, the compliance measure as well as the coverage part. Unless and until you have the proper report, you can't feel safe. The problem behind is.
I have an important question to Manthan Babu. Like Jayashree ji mentioned, about the third party cover and the first party cover. So for a cooperative bank, a loss suffered by a customer, maybe a borrower or a retail customer, could be like a third party claim from the cooperative bank's policy, technically. Same way for NPCI also. See, NPCI, many cooperative banks are using your services on payment systems. Okay. So in a way, if there is technically a claim, it could probably overlap between their first party policy and your third party policy.
Yeah. So
do you factor all this when you are deciding about how do you decide? Because you are, unlike other people, yours is a systemic risk. You are the fulcrum of the whole payment system. So the nuances will be much more in your case, and it will impact all cooperative banks also, other banks also, but definitely cooperative banks. So can you throw light on that? The third party coverage available from NPCI for your customer banks.
True. So, like you rightly pointed out, just to give a precursor to how this evolved for us is like any party which is individually taking an insurance. We also took a cyber insurance about 4 or 5 years without understanding majority of the nuances, right? So, as cases evolved, we also matured ourselves to the extent like Vinod rightly pointed out. Going into the nuances of understanding what gets covered, what is the liability, what is the limitation, what is sub-limitations, and so on and so forth. So at least we can take to the extent largely pride to say that there is a high amount of awareness in what is narrated in the policy clauses as we speak. Which includes what do we essentially have to cover as part of a first party cover, and as well including third party covers. Like you rightly mentioned, being a network provider ourselves, the risk of exposure from us to others being impacted is fairly high as a first party cover. As compared to a third party cover, the possibility of a third party to the tunes of somebody like as large as a SBI or I'm just picking up some names, any large scale public sector bank or a large private player, then to that extent, majority of these players are also today forced by the regulation in itself to have a high level of cyber cover. So when we take a call, we have assessed the availability of covers in some of these large-scale players comprehensively, and as well in a collective manner is the manner that we at NPCI has gone ahead deciding our own cover and the third-party covers. So we didn't want to go into specific as to what those are. Yeah, so, but yeah, these are vital considerations that are taken into consideration over the past few years. It is not that right from day zero we were way too well aware of all of these and we have done this. It has evolved over a period over the past 3 years for us as well. There are various limits on a slow and the cost of these insurance are also mammoth, right? So today we are dealing with some of these domestic players only as yet, because for a majority of the banks, they have not yet touched the roof of what cannot be settled by domestic players. So there are players who are evolved to go to procuring insurance from the global markets and AAA companies and so on and so forth. So insurance is a multi-layer ladder for us to step up on. So slow and steady manner. None possibly would have the ability, affordability to go and acquire the best-in-class insurance to cater to all of them as we speak. So it's a layered and a steady progress that as a corporate we have taken. And we have reached, I would not say we are on the top of the ladder. We have stepped up and we have upped our game, and we will only move forward up year-on-year basis to acquire further in coverage, eliminate some of the nuances that we are already aware of, and then cater to enhancing the coverage and so on and so forth. So that's the plan currently. We leverage a broker who actually mediates and governs this by, acquires it from Various. So we also invite the domestic players, the global players, multi-lang, and then take a due informed decision around that. Yeah.
So I have a question for Vinodji. Sir, you being an Apex bank, do you consider taking a group policy for your constituent banks also? But that would be a more efficient model for a cluster of banks.
It's a good idea, but we haven't really thought about it because, say, even if I just talk about district cooperative bank, we have 18 banks in Gujarat. Now, you know, the level of security, cyber security preparedness is quite different at each of them, number one. And taking a group policy, we spoke about it to at least 2 companies. They were not very much willing to give us a group policy of that. GSC Bank, we have established a technology umbrella which is covering 145 plus banks in state. Now, so a part of it, and hence we have taken those things and the services that we are giving, you know, part of it is covered in our first party coverage or third party coverage, whatever is.
Okay. Now, why I mentioned this was, you know, since we are trying to show the optimal way for cooperative banks all over India. Yes. And insurance, you know, operates, aggregation is the name of the game in insurance. Okay. So when you aggregate through a Apex cooperative bank or through even a service provider like NPCI, or it could be a state level federation, cooperative bank federation, then it will be much more efficient for all, because many banks may not have the wherewithal to negotiate and purchase separately. But as you said, you know, even in a group policy, it is possible to do individual risk assessment and evaluate the risk and then come to a homogenized.
But insurance companies are not willing to do this.
I take individually also and group also. So group, yes, as you rightly said, bargaining power. What happens is you have a more loss coverage and a lesser premium paid relationally. And we also use 3 brokers actually, 2-3 brokers, and they bring their own manufacturers. So a lot of preparation, 6 or 7. So that's how we work. So we can then cut the premiums with the help of that. And in fact, for a moment when ma'am said 1% you have to spend, my heart sank, because then 1% was too high for a premium to be paid. And luckily, of course, said that's coverage. I said coverage. So we cover much more than that, Typically, it would be probably we are covering up to 5% in terms of asset coverage. So that's a lot of cover, which is actually roughly 33% of my annual IT budget, or less than that. Annual IT budgets also come down. What we used to now, we're not spending so much. So I'm talking of CapEx plus OpEx. So roughly.
I want to share, globally for cooperative banks can look at, globally there is a standard like 0.5% of the turnover is recommended for the limit for cyber insurance. I'm telling across various industries.
No, but my experience tells me, my experience in this insurance claim that I handle tells me that you need to insure much more.
Yeah, right.
What's happening is the investigation costs are very expensive. Forensic investigation, they'll charge you typically 50 lakhs or 1 crore. And then the cost of repair, 6 months, 4 or 5 months disruption. Then there is press coverage. Then there is so much to do. Repairing, buying new OpEx, because you have to buy a lot of security tools, devices. That will take your expenses much more higher than what you think. So typical insurance fraud might cost you 5 crores to 6 crores.
See, somewhere the philosophy that should not be driven with cooperative banks, that taking an insurance cover without even having the primitive controls are good enough. It is like to say that I have insured myself without learning how to drive. I am going to start my driving. So please do attend the driving school, acquire your licenses, and then obviously by having the virtue of acquiring a license, it's essential for you to insure both your car and yourself. It's exactly the same over here as well. If you don't, there are some of the banks that we have come across who would want to acquire insurance well prior to even having the controls. Like Sundar rightly pointed out, post the forensic is where they would land up seeing the primitive controls, which are essential even for not even a bank, is missing in the bank in itself. That
they
cannot
don't have simple firewall. You're right. You're right. They don't even have a simple firewall. They haven't they have installed a simple antivirus in their computers.
Right.
And installed. This is a fact. So I agree with what you're saying,
But Madan, as you said, there are two safeguards have emerged in that. One, 2018 as well as last year also, RBI has come with a 4-layer category of cyber controls for cooperative banks, including the smallest. Okay. So there is a baseline.
When SIM SOC is compulsory now for cooperative banks.
Yeah, for the 4 categories of cooperative banks, they got layers of baseline controls. So that is one thing. And second one is, I don't think any insurer will also be blind enough to underwrite an unprepared this one. Okay, so they will also do their minimum risk assessment. Okay, so these two safeguards will. No, I agree.
Yeah, the cooperative banks are still far away, Arjun. See, because typically, if you see any of these regulated industry, whether it is insurance, finance, or banking sector for that matter, unless there is a yardstick that regulator, the first step is not taken, because most of the spend typically is seen as the regulator said so I am doing so, right? So it becomes a easy cakewalk for a majority of them. So cooperative banks, although RBI would have come up, it is a gap assessment stage people are in currently as we speak. So people RBI's guidelines to pick and choose to see where they stand and use that as a capex opex budget for them to buy the essential tools as we speak, and then move forward that way. So that's a no-brainer that has to be there in place. Till which period the cost of the insurance in itself will be, like you rightly pointed out, the insurer will look at a lack of such, and then obviously the cost will be higher. For a matured, policy-driven plus a control-driven organization, the cost of insurance obviously can be brought down. So it's a weighted average that these acquiring personalities have to look at. Where do I invest first? And that's why I told we at NPCI has taken a layered approach, right? While we can take a mammoth, say $500 million cyber insurance, do we do that, or do we take a $25 million at the same time, put to use a delta cost into appropriate protect and detect measures that we could use to, is a rightful measure and a corporate has to look up to. So given this forum can be possibly be looked up by cooperative banks, I thought it is vital to bring up these important parameters when they look upon. Yeah. And none of these these are just arbitrary numbers. None of these are numbers related to us in any manner. Yeah. Sure.
I want to suggest one more thing that's happening globally, which is not coming to India. See, my company, Gamasec Israel, is part of cyber insurance companies in Canada and US, where we provide a web security, web application firewall, and DDoS protection as a part of the insurance contract. It's given complimentary to the customer.
Arjun, I would like to
this works very well for SME customers in Canada and USA. So that model is set to come to India, where this will take care of what Madan said. Some baseline controls and will be part of the cyber insurance contract.
Are you providing this in Indian banks also?
Yeah, we are now the insurer is has to permit that. We are talking to the insurers to provide to all the cooperative banks and the SME hospitals, through this model.
No, you are talking to whom?
All the insurance companies, we are doing that.
So, but you said yours is already an insurance company.
No, we are not insurance. We are a technology provider.
Okay, so okay, all right. Okay.
Yes.
None of cyber fraud insurance company is providing social engineering attack coverage. Even I have seen in many insurance company, they are not agreed not to provide a proper coverage. I'm using word a proper coverage on social engineering attack. So
it may not be true completely, Ms. Jayashree. The reason being, business email compromise is one of the most vital, as you rightly called out as in general terms, business email compromise is
A standard feature for big companies.
It's a standard feature in cyber cover, but then there can be nuances in it, which are you are an advocate yourself. You would have you would have to go through the fine prints to negotiate them well to eliminate them from the actual.
Maybe you'll have to add that.
I agree with this.
No, this is where Jayashree ji, it's the difference between how a small company is able to negotiate and how a big company is able to negotiate. That's where you need either aggregation or you need a good broker to protect the small customer.
No. What I need to mention here that whatever the frauds are covering under the policy that has been declared by and prescribed by the company, the insurance company. But the new frauds are happening nowadays, and that has not been covered. So the new pattern of fraud will come, and the new pattern of attacks will come, and the new social engineering attack techniques will also, improvising by hackers. But we are not getting the proper communication as well as coverage through various companies. So these are really big problems in front of the banking sector. Do they covering all their insecurities under the cyber fraud insurance policy, but still few things are missed as they are, they have the prescribed offered to the banking sector. And I would like to comment on the cluster policy. I'm not in favor of cluster policy or group policy because legally it's quite difficult to claim it. And sometimes it also gives some complications while settling the claim. So I don't know, Mr. Sundar can tell more about this, whether the group policy will help in settlement or not. But I have seen in many group policy, the risk and the coverage are quite different for every bank. And I think it has to be customized for every bank rather than taking a cluster policy.
Because so what I meant by group policy is conglomerate group taking a policy for the 6 or 7 subsidiaries as well as the holding company. That's what I meant. Not the individual policy, group policy, the conglomerate policy. So we take a conglomerate cover. So I'm part of the Reliance Capital. So Reliance Capital takes one cover for all the company. Insurance, life insurance, mutual fund, securities, broking. So all put together, we take one policy. That's called the. And then of course we go through one paragraph line by line. Because at the end of the day, even I'm paying the premium to Capital and then Capital pays the premium too. So what I get is pooling. So I get a discount in the rate because, we are together. This is only for getting together for making one policy. So that,
like a group company, subsidiaries and the group companies association.
Companies are providing the proper coverage for all your.
But
so one other aspect to cover from what Jayashree left over to take for is on, typically it is fraud comes first. If the fraud similar that has happened yesterday, obviously else all the parties would have covered it in their insurance. But if you are the first nature of the fraud that is happening, obviously I can 100% you, it will not be covered in your insurance if you become the first type of the fraudulent victim. So by virtue of that, insurance policy
and the proper documentation has to be mentioned clearly. Need to be convey the client. That is more important fact which I have seen in earlier matters.
But as Jayashree ji said, our Indian small banks are a victim of the latest innovation by the hackers and the criminals. But our protection mechanisms also need to keep pace with the same level of innovation. So that's where our insurance industry, cyber insurance industry, has to constantly innovate with new protective mechanisms to cover these new behavior and new patterns. But as Madan Babu said, maybe if it's a one-off case, it may not be. But if it's a pattern that's emerging, I'm sure that the insurance industry will quickly catch up. But eventually, it's all the number. It's all money talks. How much bargaining power you have, that makes the whole difference in how you structure the product and how you can evaluate. So I would like to thank the esteemed panel members for sparing the time and sharing experience, because most important, you don't get the experiences to learn from. That is very vital, and Banking Frontiers has provided an excellent forum for this learning from each other and doing it better.
Yes, so from Banking Frontiers, thank you all.
Thank you.
Chapter 1 of a very important topic. I think we are going to continue this throughout the year until we actually achieve some impact. The idea is not to end with this discussion, but to achieve an impact. You all can tell us at the end of the year how much has been achieved. Thank you all very much.